What's up, YouTube? Joint venture back again with my very first last Epoch build video. Now, this is not a build guide. This is just more of an overview of what I'm using regards to the skill Runebolt. Apparently, no one has uploaded any like build videos or guides towards this skill yet. So I figured, since it's working out so good for me, I'll be the first to do so. Now, a big disclaimer. I'm not a pro gamer. I'm not a min-maxer. I don't know all the mechanics in the game. I'm just a regular dude who likes playing this game, and I found a skill that works for me, and I thought I would share it with all of you. So, without any further ado, let's get right into what I'm doing here. The main skill of the build is going to be Runebolt. I'll just run through the skill trees really quickly so you can see what I've set up here. So first I went for a little bit extra cast speed, haste, and haste duration. Then I took this one, chance to double cast per 5 glyphs of chaos, by the way. So you've got a maximum chance of 20%, which is really easy to achieve, and it's free of mana as well. So that's really cool. So I took this one. Then I got the extra projectile chance. I didn't go with double extra projectile because I do not own the Glyph of Dominion. We went with auto-target projectiles in a cone, and then 2 points in attuned recovery to get the extra health, ward, and mana gain per shot. Then I went with amplified cascade to get the tri-elemental bolt. 50% extra damage, more health, more ward, more mana gain per shot as well. And the inscription of momentum, so when Runebolt goes through your frost wall, it does extra damage and gets some extra projectile speed. I'm stacking armor shred here because we're trying to build as much frostbite as possible. And in our passive tree, which you'll see in a minute, every armor shred point is converted to frostbite chance. So the more armor shred we have, the better. I also took Runebolt Explosion, the Devastator, which will add another +6 mana cost to the skill. But what you'll see in a minute is that we are setting up our Runic Invocations, so we only get one specific invocation. And the cool thing about that invocation is it scales off all the points that we have in this tree without any extra mana cost. So this is free damage through the Runic Invocation without the extra mana cost tied to it. But if you manually use the skill, you can see mana cost is up to 6. Then I got a mana gain chance of 75%. I took the Rune Weaver stacks, which give me extra mana regen, mana spent as ward, which is really cool because that's going to be our main defensive layer. And also here, elemental damage per stack of armor, shred, which also ties into the extra frostbite chance. So the next skill is going to be Flame Ward. We're going to leave this as Flame Ward as it is. I got here extra duration, mana efficiency, ward per second, less hit damage, ward granted, percent of missing health granted as ward. I got the auto cast, and then the other two. I guess most of you people know how Flame Ward works. The next skill we're going to use is Flame Rush, but we're going to convert it to lightning damage instead, and I'll tell you in a minute why when we get to the Runic Invocation tree. Otherwise, extra mana efficiency, cooldown recovery, damage taken is 18% less damage taken, and it's doubled against dots as well when we're in Flame Rush, so it's a nice defensive. Flame Rush is more of a hybrid utility damage dealer. It does a little bit more than one shot of Runebolt, so it's not really, that damage is not really good. It's more of the utility combined with Frost Wall, to be honest, and Runic Invocation. So yeah. Extra speed and range, so you can get all the way from one side to the other of the screen. A little bit extra damage in area, and I also took this one, another extra area. And this is critical because whenever you pass through Frost Wall during Flame Rush, it causes an explosion to do damage in a larger area, and it can also crit, which is nice. But like I said, this is not used for damage. This is more a utility thing. Frenzy 2 seconds after exit, and also here the mechanics is going to work like this. You're going to place your frost wall, then shoot a couple of rune bolts, and then you're going to use your flame rush, go through the frost wall, and it will trigger your runic invocation, which is going to be the main skill. Like I said, this build is built around Runebolt, and I want to get as much as Runebolt as possible. The next one is going to be Frost Wall. This does massive dot damage. This is great for bosses. I'm really surprised of how good this works, actually. So what I've tried to do here is squeeze as much damage as I can get. I've got Frostbite chance every quarter of a second for 100%. Then we got more damage, extra freeze rate multiplier. I maxed out this node as well. Extra spell damage per 20% freeze rate times 2. And then the Frozen Throne one, which is the initial freeze, increased duration, and damage to frozen, overall damage to frozen is 25%. This is more of a utility thing for bosses, ward gain on enemy pass-through. And this is the one for bosses. The health to ward ratio is higher, and you get maximum ward per enemy up to 200, and this counts for bosses as well. Then I've just got a little bit of area, extra duration, global damage buff to any chilled enemies, which is cool. Some ward gain, some more extra mana gain. Bonuses doubled with a distant wall. You'll probably get this 85 to 90% of the time. You got extra frenzy and haste duration as well. I didn't take this. I might do later, but I don't have the points for it right now. Then this is really cool that if you pass through, it cleanses all the negative elements on you. And this is probably one of the best ones. The arrival. So after you pass through the frost wall, my next direct Runic Invocation or Glyph of Dominion within 5 seconds is empowered. So pass through counts as walking through or using your flame rush as well. So the skill rotation looks like this. You shoot your rune bolt until you get your tri bolts. Then you place a wall. Then you can either walk through it or you use flame rush to go through, and that will get this buff for you, and that will trigger Runic Invocation, which is one of the main damage dealers we have here. But to be honest with you, Frost Wall is the main damage dealer in this build, but it's really, really helpful. Okay, let's get to the next one, which is Runic Invocation. Now, I've chosen the Runic Invocation that gives me this, the Antipode of the Rune Slinger, which conjures an antipode which repeatedly casts rune bolts at nearby enemies, and this scales with my rune bolt tree. That's why it was so important that you take all this like extra damage nodes and armor shred chance and everything, and double cast and tri-bolt and all this, because it will amp everything in the Runebolt tree. And when I place it, it looks like this. Right? And this will auto-target enemies, so everything you do from your Runebolt tree will apply to this. And the cool thing is, you can see I'm just spamming Runebolt here, but this isn't changing. And this doesn't change because of this node. Whenever you gain a rune, instead of it depending on the type of skill cast, it always results in the sequence of runes mirroring the first 3 skills in your action bar from left to right. Now, Runic Invocation in this case doesn't count as a skill, funny enough. So you can use it's active skills. This one doesn't count because I can interchange these two, and the combination here won't really change. Let me show you. That's still Flame Ward, and there's Runic Invocation. There you go. See, it's still the same. So it depends. This doesn't count. It depends on these 3 skills. So it could be this one. It could be Q, W, and R if you have Runic Invocation somewhere else, or it could be you could put Runic Invocation here and do W, E, R. Whatever's easier for you. I chose this because I only use Flame Ward as a backup. It auto triggers most of the time anyway, and I manually cast Runic Invocation when I need to, or it auto triggers when I go like this, and then like this, right? Let me show you again. There you go. You pass through, and then it auto triggers. Okay, let's get into the tree. So what I've done here, I've maxed out damage per rune consumed, so I get 12% global damage on everything, on the Tribolt, on the pass-through, on the explosions, and on the double cast and whatnot. So this is the main tree. Initially, all the good Runic Invocation builds, from what I've seen, they all use this node to really maximize the kind of combinations you want to get, right? So what do we have here? We've got a buff duration of 2 seconds of extra spell damage and cast speed when we've used the skill. Got some extra cooldown. This, if we manually place it, will give us 100% mana refunded, so it's free of cast. Actually, it only costs 4 mana right now, but it's still. I'm not sure if that's true because it's like 50 or 60 mana usually. Yeah, so I'm not sure if the text here is correct, the pop-up text. Yeah, next I went with Attuned Approach, extra more gain and mana refunded, some extra more mana refunded as well. Just 1 point here, and then the Runic Energy. This is the best skill for this runic combination, right? A lot of other players would probably argue that this is the best chance, or one of the best skills in the tree, because it has a chance to be repeated per stack. Now, I've maxed this and this out, so I had over 100 chance to repeat the Runic Invocation, and I've tried it over and over and over again. It will not double cast. I haven't got it to work with the combination that I have. So let's get back to it. But this one will just buff all the maximum damage output the skill does with the rune combination it has. Yeah, that should be it in terms of skills and skill trees. Let me show you my gear. On the helmet, currently I've got this, mana spent as ward, because that's going to be our main source. As you can see, ward goes up pretty fast. Yeah, stats on here, I've got cold penetration, intelligence, ward per second, and endurance. This is not, optimal, but it just works for me right now. I've got this, the gold amulet with some res on there, some cold penetration. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm actually absolutely stacking, oh, wrong button. I'm absolutely stacking cold damage here. Yeah, for the frostbite. Okay, so yeah, let's go. Cold pen, freeze rate multiplier, physical resistance dodge. This has some intelligence, spell crit, ward retention, cold damage, more damage over time, Ellie res, fire res. I found this, which is really cool, because if it will give you 25% more damage while using a wand for invocations with Heo as the first rune. Now, Heo here is my first rune. It's always from left to right, as you would read. So I'm getting 25 overall more damage, right, if I'm using a wand, which I am. So this is the best combination. I also found this, the Frozen Ire Scepter, which is killer good because it gives me lots of necrotic resistances. As you can see, my reses are pretty shit right now. And also the increased global cold damage is really good. See, this jumps up massively, and freeze rate multiplier goes over 1k with this as well. But there's a little bit higher with there. But for some reason, I mean, they're both very, very close in terms of damage output. But I use this just because of the combination here with the body armor. Yeah, and this gives us +2 to Runic Invocation as well. Right, the Crystal Wand, spell damage, Ellie damage, freeze rate, chance to chill. This is a really good roll, to be honest. And it has another -3 spell mana cost, which brings this down from 9 to 6. Extra mana, I'm really trying to cap to 300. Because I've got an idol here that gives me another bonus cold damage, or it give me over 32% extra cold damage if I have 300 mana. So that's what I'm working towards right now. Rings, I got extra crit chance, intelligence, LE damage over time, void, and physical resistance. The other one is an also crit chance, attunement, damage over time, void, and dodge. This belt is a little old. What level am I? 80? 80? Yeah. Increase cold, freeze rate, health, and cooldown recovery speed. As a relic, I got this one, extra mana, damage over time again, cast speed, which is really cool for Runebolt, Fizz Res, endurance threshold, snowdrift, extra frostbite chance, cold pen, dodge rating, cold damage with spells and attacks, which is great. Extra movement speed, I don't have any dex at all. And the frostbite shackles last, frostbite on hit, frostbite duration, freeze rate, ward gain on freeze. So yeah, I think a cold build for this setup with a Rune Slinger is actually the best. The idols look like this: frostbite duration, ward per second, frostbite with cold, spell cold damage. I got some really lucky here. Armor and health, ward gain when damage leaves me with low health, extra spell damage as well. Freeze rate, cold damage, increased health, cold damage, armor, LE res, and cold pen with frostbite again, and this potentially when I hit over 300 mana. By the way, this is my second character I've ever made. I've only got about 200 hours in this game. My first character was a droid lightning bear. Okay, so let's go to the passives. Passives look like this: health, mana, increased fire, cold, and lightning, some attack speed and cast speed as well, and some extra crit chance and crit multi. In the sorcerer tree, I went with arcane momentum and extra cast speed. Later on, I want to continue pumping points into this node as well. Then I went with some extra cold damage and freeze rate multiplier plus extra mana and armor. I'm going to bump this to max as well if I have some spare points. But I've only got 20 levels left, so there's really not much room that I have. Extra mana, cast speed, 2 points in here, 8 points in this one, extra intel, ward gain on direct spell cast. Since we're spamming Runebolt so quickly, you can build up ward really fast. Then some extra intelligence with the catalyst, bonus damage from crits with the catalyst as well. And I take reduced damage. This is a really cool skill node. Extra health. This is really strong as well. Less damage taken from ignited, shocked, or chilled enemies. So it's a 10% damage reduction from any of those. 2 points just as a transition thing to get over here. And I want to max. You really want to max this out. This is one of the crucial nodes where you get increased damage over time. And at 7 points, all your armor shred is converted to frostbite. That's why you want to get armor shred as high as possible. Especially, I think you can get it on your amulet. You can get armor shred, and on your gloves possibly. But yeah, I don't have that right now. Then we have more damage to bosses and rares. I would always max this out. Then I just picked up 1 point for now, just to get it up to here. I want to max this at 6. So I get extra endurance and endurance threshold as maximum mana. I only went 4 points here, so we get even more elemental penetration with damage over time. Then I went with extra spell damage of 7 points, so we get the extra damage against bosses as well. And I only put 1 point in here. I'm not sure if I'm going to take more than this. Probably I'll put like 3 points in here or so, but I just wanted this 1 point so I get that 20% chance to see if it does anything. I think that pretty much wraps it up. So like I said, guys, this is not 100%, win-win build, but it works pretty much for me. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.